What is the roadmap to actually getting better at singing? Well, in this video, I show you how you can conquer your voice in 4 simple steps. Check it out. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ivan and I'm a vocal coach at singingsimply.com. If you're interested, click in the link below and check me out. So what is the roadmap to better singing? Now, I know what a lot of you out there are feeling. You're on YouTube, you're looking at different tips here and there, and it can all get quite confusing because you don't know exactly what needs to happen to get to an amazing voice. And so with this video, I kind of wanted to give you a roadmap of what actually happens. And so the roadmap to singing is actually covered in 4 very simple steps. So step 1, we need to develop a bit of self-awareness. What are our individual challenges and goals? Step number 2 is then building the fundamentals of the voice, making sure that we've got a strong foundation to build our voice upon. Step number 3, we then look at growing the vocal range, because the more range you have, the more you can do with your voice. Step number 4, we then look at stylizing the voice. How can we make your unique voice sound the best? Now I'm going to dive into each of these with a bit more detail, and hopefully this will give you a better idea of what needs to be done. Cool, so step number 1, identifying our own challenges and goals. So this is more mental, it's more about self-awareness. Number 1, it is about identifying where we are at. So what are some of the challenges that you're facing with your voice at the moment? Are you struggling to hit those higher notes? Do you find that you sound bad? Are you struggling to stay on pitch? What is it that you're finding challenging? Likewise, number 2 is finding what we're hoping to do. What are our vocal goals? So what are you hoping to achieve with your voice? Is it about singing on stage without ever worrying about a high note? Is it about creating that awesome music and just being able to share it? Is it simply just being able to carry a tune in the shower? All these are valid goals, and it's up to you to decide what you're hoping to achieve. Once we do become aware, that's when we get to work. So step number 2, establishing the fundamentals of our voice. Now, fundamentals allow us to build on top. So without having a solid foundation of our voice, we won't go far. And so what do I mean by fundamentals? So in no specific order, this is what I focus on with my students. Number 1, making sure you've got correct posture, aligning your body to your neck, to your jaw, to your tongue. All that is very, very important. Number 2, being able to sing consistently on pitch. Number 3, being able to sing consistently on rhythm. And finally, number 4, being able to apply a healthy amount of compression, not being too breathy, not being too overly squeezed, being right in the middle. How do we do that? And so those are the 4 pillars that you need to master before moving to the next step. Now, I've actually got a free course that tackles this. It's called How to Actually Get Better at Singing. And so if you're interested, I'm going to pop a link in the description. Just click it out and get the free course. Now, once we've established what our goals and challenges are, we've also established some fundamentals. Part 3 is the most exciting yet the most gruesome part, growing your vocal range. Now, whilst having a large range isn't a necessity, it is incredibly important and can even be an X factor sometimes, simply because the more range you have, the more you're able to do things. You can't stylize something that you don't have. So what do I focus on in this step? So with my students, one of the main things we focus on is number 1, getting the vocal cords to stretch and thin out. Now, there are specific exercises that are designed for you to make sure that happens. And number 2, making sure we're using the correct vowels in order to boost the correct vocal acoustics. Now, in my free course that I mentioned before, I show you an awesome tool that shows exactly what you need to be doing with your vowels. So step number 4, stylizing your voice. So I've left this until last because for me, this is something that takes time and experimentation. Over time, as you're developing your voice, you will start to pick up subtle nuances, perhaps from your favorite artist or just from music that you listen to, and you're going to start building your own style anyway. But my role here is to provide something a bit more objective. And so for whatever style you're hoping to sing in, I will give you objective feedback on what your phrasing should be like, how your dynamics should be, what should the melody be, how should you even be sounding, what should the tone be. And so these are things I then focus on in step number 4. So in summary, 4 simple steps. Number 1, getting a bit of self-awareness. What are our challenges and goals? Step number 2, establishing the fundamentals of our voice so that we have something to lean on. Step number 3, growing that vocal range. The more we have, the more we can work with. Step number 4, stylizing the voice to making you sound like the best you. And so that's it. That is the 4-step process to conquering your voice. And no, it will not happen overnight. Singing is not an overnight miracle. Most of my students that do amazing are those who focus on getting it one at a time, focusing on that 1% improvement every day. Now, if this sounds like you, I would love to work with you. Make sure to book in a session with me. Link is in the description. I hope to see you soon.